Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are going to be ranking all of my single bronzers. Now, I do have quite a few single bronzers, not including the ones that I have in like my palettes. Like my all-time favorite bronzer at the moment is in one of my Hourglass palettes, but that's not going to be included in these. These are purely just my single bronzers. So I'm going to be ranking them from worst to best, and there's 24 of them. So I'm going to try to make this rather painless. Might swatch a few just to show you what they look like in comparison with each other, but that's what we're doing in this video. While you guys are watching this video, if you like it, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. That helps my channel out tremendously, and I greatly appreciate when you guys do that. Also, if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, that way you're notified of all my future uploads, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I already filmed I thought I already filmed like half of this video. I looked down and guess what? Wasn't filming. So I get to do it all over again. Joy. Alright, so taking up spot number 24 is my CYO bronzer. This one is in the shade Fair. The reason why I chose to put this one in spot number 24 is because it is just too orange for my liking. When I have it on my skin, it pulls really orange to the point where I've only used this maybe like twice, I think. Honestly, if it wasn't for that, this wouldn't be that bad of a bronzer, but it just pulls way too warm. Not even too warm, way too orange. So that's why this one is ranked number 24, and that's why this one's probably going to get the boot after this video is done. Alright, so coming in at spot number 23 is my Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzer in the shade Ticket to Brazil. The reason why I chose to put this one in spot number 23 is because it's just very underwhelming. It's not a bronzer that a lot of people would be able to wear because it's so light. Not even just that, but it's very powdery. I mean, you would really have to work to build this up, and it's just still not the right tone. It's not the kind of tone that I look for in a bronzer. It's more on the orange side. It's just not my favorite. It's not one that I reach for, and this is another one that's going to be getting the boot after this video is over. Okay, so moving down to spot number 22. This is the Nomad bronzer in the shade Manly Beach. This one is another one that pulls way too orange for my taste. It's one that I got in a Nipsey bag, so it's not like I'm out a bunch of money, purchasing this one. It's not one that I would have purchased on my own to begin with, and, I'm probably just going to pass this one along to my daughter. It's just not my cup of tea. It's not my jam. Alright, so jumping down to spot number 23 is the e.l.f. I believe this is a primer-infused blush in the shade Forever Sunkissed. This one is just another one that is too, orange toned for my liking. It's a shame because the formula itself is actually very beautiful. It's a very creamy, buttery formula. It's just orange. I just don't have the desire to have this color orange on my cheeks. I have plenty of other bronzers that I like a whole lot more, so that's why this one's number 21. Okay, so coming in at number 20 is the Believe Beauty bronzer. This one is in the shade Hawaiian Glow. This one was another one that I was just underwhelmed with. This one doesn't pull as orange as the ones I just mentioned. It's more of a cool tone bronzer. If I go ahead and compare this one to the Nomad bronzer that I just showed you, you can see the difference between the two tones. The Believe Beauty bronzer is just not as orange as the Nomad bronzer. So it's not that I don't like this one. I just have to work a little bit more to get this one to look the way I want it to look. And I have so many bronzers in my collection that I love just the way they are that I really don't need to fight with. So that's why this one's ranked at number 20. So for my makeup look today, I was inspired to use one of my Super Shock eyeshadows from ColourPop because I really don't use them that often. And I have quite a few. So I dipped into the shade Erotic. It's this really beautiful pinky red on the outsides of my eyeballs there. And when I went to look for the lip, my son picked out this bright orange lip shade. So, just going to leave it at that. Alright, moving down to spot number 19 is the Hoola bronzer from Benefit. This is a little mini that I got. I believe this is something that got sent to me as part of, I don't know whether it was a gift with purchase or if it was, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know how long I've had this in my collection. I do already have a full-size Hoola bronzer that's in one of the palettes from Benefit that I actually like a good deal. The formula on this one is just different. It's a little bit more smooth, which isn't a bad thing, but the tone itself is just what throws me off. It's not my favorite. That's why it's in spot number 19. But you got to keep in mind, all of these bronzers, I like all of them. It's not that I hate any of them. Bronzers number like 20 through 24 were really not my favorite. So, you know, but now that I'm up into like my top 20, I really do enjoy all of these bronzers. It was really hard to narrow down like which ones to put in what spots, except for when I got to like my top 5. I knew what I wanted in my top 5, but like from here to number 20, I could have mixed matched a bunch of these, and they're all really good bronzers. So this one's number 19. I think it's a pretty good representation of my feelings for it. My 11-year-old daughter's in the room next door belting out some Halsey, so if you hear some singing, that's what that is. All right, jumping into spot number 18 is my Park Avenue Princess Bronzer from Tarte. This is like a little single that I got, I think, as a gift with purchase. Had quite a few of those gift with purchases last year. But anyway, I do have the entire Park Avenue Princess Chisel palette, so I have the full size of this, or like a bigger pan size. And it's just not a shade that I use that often because it's a little too warm for me, but I do actually like it. It's not one that I really dislike. I am going to start swatching some of these to give you guys an idea of what they look like. When I was swatching some of these earlier, I kind of laughed. I kind of had to chuckle at myself, and I'm like, you know what? These are all just brown powders, and a lot of them look a lot alike, to the point where it's a bit ridiculous how much we'll pay for a brown powder. So let me go ahead and I'm just going to scooch a little bit closer here. So this one is Park Avenue Princess. So you can see how warm that one swatches. Just a tad bit warm. All right, so moving down to spot number 17. This is the Soleil Tan de Chanel bronzer. It pains me to put this bronzer on such a low spot on this list because of how expensive it is, but I have to be honest with myself. This is not a bronzer that I find myself reaching for that often. It's just very warm. This is a very warm toned bronzer. It's very pumpkin pie-ish. I like the way it blends out. As far as like blendability and wear and all that, it's really beautiful, but when it comes to the tone, I wish they had more than one tone. I wish they had more than one shade. Okay. And that is the Tan de Chanel. Whoa, that shows up super orange. So yeah, that's why that one is in spot number 17. But you bet your ass I'm going to keep using it. Okay, so making its way into spot number 16 is my Jouer Duo Bronzer. This one is the light to medium duo. I almost didn't put this in my ranking here just because it's a duo, but it's not like a full palette, so I didn't want to leave it out. This one, it's just not my favorite tones. It's a beautiful formula. It's very understated, so it's not easy to get like crazy and out of control and heavy-handed with it. You really have to build this one up, and I'm okay with that. I don't mind having to build a bronzer up as long as the end result is beautiful, as long as it looks nice. And it's not that it doesn't look nice, but I have tones that I like a little bit better than this one, so that's why this one is coming in the number 16 spot. See if I'm going to swatch one of these for you. So there it is. It's right in between these two. Not perfect. Also not shit. So, number 16. I like how my cat just sleeps in my bed all day. That way, as soon as I go to bed, he's going to be ripping and roaring through the entire house and climbing up my curtain over here and jumping on my face. And it's a good time when the lights go out at night in my house because my cat has his days and nights mixed up, and it drives me completely bananas. Number 15. This is the Huda Beauty Tantour. This is another product that I almost didn't put in this just because it's like a 2-in-1. It's a bronzer and a contour powder, but I feel like for me, this is more of a bronzer. Just because the tone is really warm. Doesn't really look like it in the pan, but when you swatch it, which I'm going to do, it's very silky. It kind of reminds me of the Chanel bronzer. The Chanel bronzer is a little bit silkier than this Huda Beauty. The Huda Beauty feels a little bit more like emollient, but the tones are definitely different. So I like it a little bit more than the ones that I've already mentioned to you guys. That's why this is at number 15. I really do think it blends beautifully. It does look good on me. I mean, in my opinion, I do like it. I just don't find myself reaching for it all the time, but I wouldn't declutter it. I would definitely keep it in my possession. So number 15. So taking up the number 14 spot is an Hourglass bronzer. This one is in Luminous Bronze Light. I was a little taken aback at how warm toned this one was. I was expecting it to be a lot more cool toned than it is. I'm gonna swatch it for you. It's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I have a bronzer from Hourglass now that I absolutely adore. It's in their, what is it, their volume 4, their edit, whatever it's called. So what I usually do is I top this one with that one, and then I really like what I come up with. I just don't really care for this one all by itself. I usually have to put more of a cool tone bronzer on top. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch this one for you as well. That way you can see what it looks like. So you can just see the difference in tones between all of these bronzers. There is a difference. But yeah, this Hourglass bronzer here is just a little too warm. Don't hate it. Don't absolutely love it. So that's why this one's falling in the number 14 spot. Because it's just, you know, it's good. It's just not like mind-blowing. Number 13 is the Maybelline City Bronzer. If you've watched people like that Tequila, I feel like Raw Beauty Christie has talked about this, maybe. I'm pretty sure Kathleen Lights has talked about this. That Tequila is the one that influenced me to buy it. This one is in the shade 200, and that's what it looks like. It's actually a really nice bronzer. I do like it a lot. It does have a little bit of a sheen to it, which I was kind of surprised. I didn't expect it to have that. Why does this not look like it has a sheen? I swear it does. Am I crazy? Was it like an overspray? I think that it was just like an overspray because this looks totally matte now. I'm a little mind blown. Okay, let's see if I can swatch this without getting it everywhere. That is the Maybelline City Bronzer. Number 14. 14, this is pissing me off. I keep forgetting which number I'm at. 24 is a lot of bronzers. 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. Number 13. I do really enjoy this one. It's like smack dab in the middle of my ranking here. It's one that I would repurchase if I ran out of it because I think it's really good. So if you're someone with a fair skin tone and you like a warm toned bronzer, you might really like this one. Okay, moving its way into my number 12 spot is the NARS Laguna Bronzer. This is one that I got from, maybe I got it in a Sephora Play. Ah, that's what it was. I did. I got this in a Sephora Play a long time ago. And I really don't use it that much, but I'm going to make it a point to start using this a little bit more in the future because it is really beautiful. I just kind of forgot about it because I have too much makeup. All right, I'm going to go ahead and swatch this Laguna bronzer for you real quick. What? Worst swatch ever? Okay, well, it didn't swatch beautiful, but it is a pretty bronzer. So that's why it's ranked number 12. I am going to try to use it a little bit more. I think it's really nice, and that's why it is number 12. All right, we're getting there, guys. We're on number 11. So in the number 11 spot is my Makeup Revolution bronzer. This is their bronzer reloaded in the shade Long Weekend. When I first got this, in my Ulta order a long time ago, and I looked at it, I thought for sure this was going to be way too warm, like crazy, crazy warm. And it kind of is. It is very warm, but it's also very flattering. It's shimmery and it just looks like sun-kissed cheeks when you have it on your cheeks. So that's what that looks like. It is a really good bronzer. It's actually a little more orange than what I would normally go for, but for whatever reason, I do really like this a lot. I think it's because of the shimmer that's in here is why I really like this. But this is a number 11 spot. I really do like it, and now we're moving into the top 10. Okay, so we're finally in the number 10 spot. So coming in at number 10 is my Milk Makeup Stick Bronzer. This one is in the shade Baked. This one is a really good cream bronzer. It's a little bit more cool toned than my Tantour. It's more cool toned than my Tan de Chanel. That's why I really like this one. That's why this one's coming in at number 10. And I'm going to go ahead and swatch this one for you so you can see it. That's what that looks like. It's showing up a little bit more warm, like in my monitor right now. But it's a really beautiful bronzer. I think it blends really nicely. It looks good once you get it on. And I'm really glad I picked it up. So, number 10. All right, coming in at number 9 is my Milani bronzer. This is their Silky Matte bronzer in the shade Sunlight. I've had this one for quite a while now, and I really do like it. It's more cool toned, as you can see. It is very silky, and it's one of those buildable type of bronzers. It's not going to come off real heavy, and it just looks good with my skin tone. So that's why this one is number 9. Coming in at number 8 is my Bare Minerals Invisible Bronze in the shade Fair to Light. This is one that I picked up from TJ Maxx a while back, but this is just a really beautiful bronzer. It's a baked formula, so it's like really light and airy, and it's just a really good tone for my skin tone. So you can see there it is a little bit more cool than some of my other bronzers. It just applies really nicely. It blends really easily, and it's one of those that you can build up. It's not real heavy, so that's why this is number 9. Getting excited. We're getting closer and closer to my number 1 bronzer. For whatever reason, I became a complete sucker for bronzers this year. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm really pasty and I needed some bronzing. Don't know. But I found quite a few, obviously. So coming in at number 7 is my Becca bronzer in the shade Capri Coast. This is their Sunlit bronzers. I heard Jamie Page talking about this a while back, and it is really beautiful. This is another really shimmery bronzer. It's got a really nice formula to it. It blends really beautifully. It pulls a little bit more. It's got like a red undertone to it. Those specifically are my favorite bronzers. The ones that are a little bit warm, like not crazy warm, or even cool tone, but with like a red undertone, if that makes any kind of sense at all. But those are my favorite. And this kind of has that. That's what that looks like. They're starting to all look the same, so I guess that's how you can tell that they're all my favorite, because they all look just about the same. So, number 7, love this, glad I have it. Thank you, Jamie Page. Okay, coming in the number 6 spot is my Too Faced Sun Bunny Bronzer. I bought this on the recommendation of Allie Glines. I think she was doing a video where she was trying some of her subscribers' favorite makeup. And this pulled like a very beautiful, I don't even know, it had like this really beautiful red undertone to it, or pink undertone. And this one shows up a little bit warm on me, but it is really gorgeous. I do really like it. I think it definitely deserves to be in my top 10. So that's why this is number 6. And there's that. I'm sorry the swatches are out of control. All right, now we're digging into my top 5. Okay, coming in at number 5 is my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This is a bronzer that you're going to hear a lot of people mention when it comes to like their ranking videos. Anybody that's been on YouTube for a while that does makeup videos is going to mention the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer at some point or another. It's a very affordable bronzer. It's beautiful. It smells like vacation. And mine is extremely busted, but it's still a good formula. I've kept it all this time, even though it is busted and I had to repress it. I'm just trying to be a little bit careful with it here because it's a hot mess. But I'm going to go ahead and swatch that and show you. It's a little bit more of like a cool tone formula, which I do like. And there that one is. Look how similar all of these bronzers look, though. They're all only like a shade or 2 off from each other. It's pretty crazy. So, number 5, really like this one. If you haven't tried, if you're just getting into bronzers, you're still trying to learn how they work, you don't want to drop a bunch of money on one. This does work for a lot of different skin tones. So, and they do have different shades of this as well. This is just their regular bronzer. Okay, coming in at number 4 is my Pure Bronzing Act bronzer in the shade Light. This is a matte bronzer. It smells like vanilla or chocolate. I'm really not sure, but it smells really delicious, like candy. This is the type of bronzer that you have to build up. It doesn't come off really pigmented at first. I really like those. It is a little bit more cool toned. It's just good. This is just all around a great bronzer. I really love it, and I would definitely repurchase this one if I did not have it in my collection. And that's what that one looks like. Oh my goodness, we're up to the top 3. Coming in at number 3, you might be surprised to see that this is a drugstore bronzer. This is the L'Oreal True Match LUMI Bronze It Bronzer. This one is in their lightest shade. It's 01 Light. The formula on this is like absolute butter. When you swatch this one, it is so silky. Like, this is going to sound really stupid, but sometimes I'll just swatch this just because I like the texture. I like the way it feels. I have problems. But not just that, it's a cool-toned, shimmery bronzer. This is something that I can pair with a more warmer bronzer, so any of the bronzers that were ranked much lower on my list here, I can kind of put this over top because those were really warm. This is really cool. They meet together. They make, you know, beautiful little bronzer heaven. So I'm going to swatch this so you can see it.
Oh yeah, that's cute.
You can see that that one's a little bit more cool toned. It just really helps to bring some luminosity to the cheeks. So if I'm using like a really matte bronzer and it's too warm toned, I just slap some of this LUMI bronzer over top and it's gorgeous. So number 3. This was really difficult. Like my top 5 was a struggle, just trying to decide what to put in what spot. Like I knew what they were going to be, I just didn't know what spot to put each of them in because I really do like all of them almost the same. Number 2 is my Bare Minerals bronzer. This one is in the shade Faux Tan. This is their Endless Summer bronzer. This one's just interesting. It is more cool toned than a lot of the other ones that I have. It smells like spices. I don't even know how to describe it. It's really strange though because I've never heard anybody else that I've seen using this talk about the smell. I've never heard anybody mention that it has a scent. It just smells like I'm ready to cook dinner. I can't describe, I don't know. It's really beautiful though. It is a matte bronzer. It's rather cool and it looks really good on my skin tone. And there's that one. Really beautiful. Glad I have it. Definitely deserves to be in my number 2 spot. And, you know, if you haven't tried this one yet and you're looking for a cool tone bronzer, you're looking for something that... This one is a little bit more pigmented than some of my other ones. This one, I kind of have to be a little bit careful in how much I'm putting on my brush because it can get pretty heavy-handed pretty quick, but I still love it. It's a great bronzer and definitely deserves to be at number 2. All right, we are down to my number 1 spot. Can anybody guess what it is? It's really funny to me, the one that I chose to be number 1, just because this one's really nothing special. I think it's the tone of this one that's my favorite. It's a matte bronzer. It pulls a really beautiful, like, it's a brown shade, but it pulls a really pretty pink undertone when I blend it on my cheeks. This is the Kylie bronzer in Tequila Tan. It is my favorite bronzer at the moment. You can tell that I've used quite a bit of it because you can see where, like, the drips that are on the front of it here, they're kind of, you know, wearing away there. It's really beautiful. I like it because it's not too cool and it's not too warm and it pulls a little pink. It's just beautiful. It's not overly pigmented, but it's not the type of bronzer where you have to build it up for, you know, 20 minutes. All around, great bronzer. Something I forgot to mention throughout this video, except for with my Chanel bronzer, I didn't mention price. When I'm trying to rank these, I'm really trying to think hard about the way they perform and how they look on my skin, not necessarily how much I paid for them, because, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not really thinking about that when I'm putting my makeup on. I'm thinking about the way it looks. So something good about this one though is it is fairly inexpensive compared to some of the other ones that I have. So if you're looking for a good bronzer, you have a fair skin tone like mine, try out Tequila Tan. You might really like it. If you like ones that pull a little bit more, you know, pink undertone, if you like ones that aren't too cool toned, you might really like this one. So that is all 24 of my bronzers ranked for you guys. Did you guys see any of your favorite bronzers in this video? If you did, let me know down below what those are. I'm kind of curious to see. Tell me what your number 1 favorite bronzer is. If I don't have it, maybe I need it. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. Again, if you liked it, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, come back and see me again soon, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.